All right, you're welcome back again. We are continuing now again our non-parametric test, and we are looking at a Wilcoxon paired sample test, dependent two sample t-tests. Uh, this is just same we have done before under t-test, where we perform dependent two sample t-test, paired test. So we have one numerical and one paired sample or group. So the same thing applicable here, but this one is different because we are assuming that a normal distribution assumption or parametric assumptions are violated. So in that case, we could not continue with parametric. So we now switch over to non-parametric. So that is what we are doing here. So now this is just same from what you have done before, and some things are being repeated as well. Okay, so what does it mean? The paired sample Wilcoxon test, also known as Wilcoxon signed rank test. All right, it's a non-parametric alternative to paired t-test. All right, used to compare the media of two related or dependent samples. Excuse me. In paired t-test, we compare using mean. Don't forget, and under this, we compare using median. So that's one of the difference. So this one is rank. It's based on ranking. Okay, so it's rank. That's why it's called Wilcoxon sign rank test. So it's ranking based on the median, not using mean now. All right. So we want to compare the median of two related or dependent samples. Don't forget that we are saying that at this time the data are not normally distributed. Okay, so I've shown some examples before. If you remember, uh, in the previous one I did under a PLT test, that I said about when you want to compare the stress levels of people uh, before vacation and after vacation, and I made a point then that I want to repeat it again, that the PS sample test is period dependent. It's time based. What I mean is that it's time based. There's a time always involved, even though you may not see the time literally, but there is always period between this and this, before and after. Before something happens, after something happens, so there's a time difference. Yes, time is always involved. That is one thing you must understand about paired test. It's very unique to paired test. So it's not different from the other unpaired and the simple test and the rest. So this one happened to, it has a lot to do with a period or time. All right. So now we see another example here. Do vacations have impact on people's stress level? What does it mean? Okay, you want to confirm this. You check their PB, for example. All right, you check their PV before they travel on vacation. Maybe you want to organize a vacation for some staffs in the company where you work, okay, or families member. You want to organize a vacation for them, and then before they travel, you check their PB, and then when they traveled and they return, you check their PB again. Then they have gone to enjoy. They have gone to have a nice time. So when they return back, does that vacation have any effect on their stress level? Okay, so you can check, you can see the difference. If there is, by your test, that is called peer test. Don't forget, in the peer test, you use the same specimen repeatedly twice. The same people you experimented, you collect data from before they travel, the same people you have to do before when they come back. That is one thing about peer test. The same specimen or subject is being repeated twice. Data is being collected on the same specimen twice. That's what it means. All right. It's very simple and very straightforward. Another example is that maybe does the diet program have effect on the body weight of the people? Maybe you want to introduce a diet program for them, and before the diet, you test their weight, you weigh them, okay? You weigh them, the people, and after the diet program has finished, you weigh them again. You want to compare the previous weight with the new weight. Is there any difference? Don't forget, the same people you weigh before the diet, the same people you are weighing after the diet. Don't forget that. All right. Also give an example of maybe a rat. Okay, maybe you want to inject or inoculate the rat with some poison, or maybe some cancer carcination element. So you want them to, so that you can test maybe vaccine on them. Maybe you have 10 mice, for example, or a rat, whichever way, maybe subject you are trying to use, or any animal you are using. The same number of animals you have already measured, or you have already recorded specimen on take record on the same number of subjects, the same thing. Okay, in fact, you may need to label them, yes, so that you can know which one is 1, which one is 2, which one is 3, which one is 4, which one is A, B, C, or D. So it's like the one we do that, we have M1, M2, M3, M4 for each of the mouse. So you have to do the same thing, because you need to know, because there are not that many. Maybe you have 20 or 30, you can label them. Yes, you can label them so that you know. So you know which one that the vaccination program work on. All right. So that is just example of a paired test. It's very straightforward. If you can understand that concept like that, you have no problem. So when you have that kind of thing, your experiment or your research, you can still go along with it and perform the experiment, because you understand the data, the kind of data you want to use. All right. So the challenge people have is that they don't know which data to use when it comes to performing experiments like that. So now that is clear, you can now go ahead and do different kind of data can be applied now. So now that you understand the concept, so here we use the sample data set which contain the weight of 30 mice before and after treatment. So we want to generate a data by ourselves. Okay, so you set the seed first for the productivity, so that you can the same number of the same data set I have, you can have if you run your own. So that's why I'm setting the seed, so you have the same result. All right, so I can run this. Don't mind the way I set this. Okay, the way I set it, because I set it so that I can have a a, uh, a data set that is not normally distributed. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do. So the former one we did the same way, and it's normally distributed. So, but this time around, I'm trying to go against the rules of the data functions here, so that we can have data set that is normally distributed. So let's run this to create data set. So we have data set created now called mice data. That's our data set. Right? We have 30 for each, so we have 60. So we can also describe it now. I can say glimpse. Let's glimpse our mice data. So here we have you can see we have before and after. Here that's a group. Then we have weight of each mouse. We have the weight here. All right. So that is you have a total number of 60 rows and 2 columns. All right. So now we can now go ahead and what we actually try to look at. You want to know. Let's call it that was our question now. Okay. Question. So we want to know. Oh, let me see. It's entering inside. So we want to know if there is any significant difference in the median weights before and after treatment. All right. If there's any significant difference. Okay. So we can start by creating a box plot as usual. If we have created some in the past, so we can also create high QR interquarter range. Okay, we can create it also to see. Okay, don't forget we have done all those one in the past, so you can check again in case you have forgotten. All right, so let me just so that you can see clearly what I'm trying to do here. So that yes, okay, now it's clear now. All right, so let's create it. So you say in our ggplot now we pass our data set here. We reorder. The reason why I'm trying to reorder here is because normally when you create here, you have the after before. It uses alphabetical order, which is naturally in ascending order. So we want to reorder it to descending. So we reorder. So you now become before and after. That's what we are doing here now. Okay. So before you use group to reorder it, before comes sorry before after. That is how it's supposed to be, not after before. So that is we want to order our plot to reflect that here. So when we run this line of code now, can have a before and after. Normally, it's supposed to be after and before. Okay, that is the order, but now we have changed the order by changing the order. Okay, now passing there. Now we're supposed to pass our s here. Actually, here weight. Our s is weight. Okay, don't forget. So, sorry, our s is group here. Okay, group. So we have got we say we should reorder by weight and group. Okay, that's what we do here. So reorder. So now that we have reordered, so we have only one uh, outlier here. Okay, that is not a problem actually. So now we want to go further and find the summary of both medians. So if you want to group now using piping now, can pipe now using grouping, can now say, okay, let's pass our data here. Our group variable is group. All right, don't forget that. Then we can say summarize. Then we count the total number of each. We find the median of each weight, set of weight, and we find the RRQ, interquartile range of each to see. Let's just run this line of code and see what I'm talking about. So now look at it here. We have group, we have after and before and after. You can so this, you can so reorder here too, no problem. So but that's not needed. So we have count, each of them is 30 right? The median is a this one have, of course, median is unique. 391, 218, they are not the same. All right, IRK also, they are not the same. So we can see from this chart, from this plot here now, can see the margin here and the margin here is very far. Okay, so we can see from this plot now that they are not the same, but this particular one will not give us what you are looking for, because we want to do a statistical test. All right, it's very important. So we want to confirm by test if what you are seeing is by chance or is statistically significant. All right, we are looking at the data, we can say, okay, there's a difference. All right, but we cannot say there's a difference. We cannot just conclude that there's a difference. We need to do a test on it. That is what is called statistical testing. So even though you are seeing the result, you look as if they are correct, but you have to go further and perform the test. That's what you have to present. So let us plot also histogram for this. So a proper one now. We can do a proper histogram now for this. So let's do that. So see, you can see the group this is a group after and before. All right, this is weight, this is the frequency. So you can see there's a difference. This is a histogram of mice weights. All right, so all right, so this is just to show you means different way. I'm trying to do this so that at least some of us who miss the plotting section of a ggplot session of to how to visualize, you can learn more why I'm doing. As I'm trying to repeat it here. This is just using facet wrap here. Okay, I use facet wrap here to break it into two, right? So you can learn some things from there also, and just add there some title and the so let's go for it. So now let's check the assumptions. Okay, the first assumption is that are the two samples paired? Are they paired? So that is first question I want to ask here now. So of course, yes, since the data have been collected from measuring twice the weight of the sample size, sample mice. So the same mice is measured twice. Don't forget, I said before that you have to measure the same subject or the same specimen. Okay, no different specimen, the same one. So twice. So you can now say that the samples are paired. Why? Because they are measured. Same specimen or same subject are measured twice. Okay, right? That is settled. Then we want to add the data from each of the two groups follow a normal distribution, because this particular one must be made first. It's very important. So that's the assumption that you need actually for Wilcoxon. Okay, pair test. All right. So the data from each of the two groups follow a normal distribution. Now this one you can do. You can perform this one individually, group by group. All right. We can also do it once and for all. So if you run this one once and for all, you can just run it like this. Okay, you have this one is significant. Okay. All right. So significant because now the null hypothesis of the normal distribution is rejected for both and after. So let's run it one by one and see what I'm talking about. If you run this, you have a 0.05. 0.05 is close to uh, being significant, okay, and but not exactly. This one is totally far. So two of them, one is highly significant here, while one is not. So we cannot take the two together. So we have to conclude that they are not significant. They are significant, which means they fail the test. All right, they fail the test. All right, so that's why we do this as well to confirm that this one is direct. All right, so which gives us 0.000, which means highly significant. So the null hypothesis now is now rejected for both and after. All right, so normality check failed. So we can continue with our pair test now using non-parametric method. That's what it means. So it means that we cannot use parametric. That's what it means. So how do we do this? There are two ways to do this. We can simply do this by just directly passing our data here before, after, pair equal to true. And this must show that you must have attached your uh, your data set. You must use attach method for this to work. Okay. For this one, you can just run this directly. This one will work without attachment. For this one, you have to attach that mice data. So I don't know if if you don't attach, you give error, or you don't recognize, but that we have attached, that's what it means. So no error. So we have before and after. Pair equal to true. You must say pair equal to true here. That's what you are trying to do here. So, or we can say that we can pass our weight here, group here. Right, and we are using the group inside here, which is correct, appeared. Or we can say that the weight to group here, then data equals to minus data. So we can say pair equal to group again. All right, so that's the method we use. So when we run this now, it gives us the same result. So let's run this also. Right, so let's run this. We have 1.863 exponential 09. Okay, 1.6. So they have the same result. So so this one is talking about Wilcoxon rank exact test. Okay, weight by group. The one is before and after. So any one of the two is okay. Just alternative hypothesis true location shift is not equal to 0. The same thing gives here. So is highly significant now. Okay, that means there is a significant difference. Okay, the p-value of the test is this, which is less than the significance level of our threshold, 0.05. So we can then reject null hypothesis and conclude that the median weight of the mice before the treatment is significantly different from the median weight after treatment, which we have, of course, we have seen using the summary method and plots, but not with test. So that could be taken as a chance. But now it's no more a chance now, okay? It's now significantly different. All right, so that me hypothesize now. So we can now report our result, what we have discovered or observed in the data. So this is just a conclusion for this. So thank you so much for listening. I will continue in the next class to another non-parametric test, as case may be. If you have not yet subscribed, you can go and do that so that you can enjoy more of this video. Thank you so much.